Songbird has certainly caused quite a stir. I don't necessarily think it deserves the negative backlash that it's received. Certainly not for the reason it's receiving it, but I will admit that this film is not fantastic. So a lot of people are hating on this because it's set in 2024 and we're in lockdown week, goodness knows what, from coronavirus. And people are saying that this is, I guess, insensitive because a lot of people have lost their families and loved ones. But actually, I think it's quite the opposite. This is actually a powerful message saying if you don't follow the rules, if you don't do what you need to do to stop the spread, this is what could happen and we could still be in the same situation in 3 years' time. So I will give it credit for that. I think it does kind of get the message across quite well that really things can only get worse if we don't start cooperating and, trying to do the right thing. It is an interesting concept. It's quite different to your usual pandemic film because normally when there's like a pandemic, people are, well, usually they're done like zombie films, to be perfectly honest. Contagion's the best example of how that film works, that narrative works. But this is basically the complete opposite. There are not people rampaging all around plagued with this virus. It's quite the opposite. Everywhere is deathly quiet because people are stuck in their homes. It focuses on a few different sets of people, but for the most part it centres around Nico, played by KJ Apa, or perhaps Apa. And I have to say, for the most part, I really liked Nico as a character. Towards the end I started to dislike him and I thought he was being a fool. But actually I really liked him for the most part. Very well acted. I really enjoyed his performance. And certainly if he wasn't in this, it probably wouldn't have been as good. The film is actually directed by Adam Mason, written by Mason and Simon Boyce. We do have several other characters. To be honest, I didn't care for any of them. The only one I maybe cared for was the daughter, because she felt a lot more vulnerable and likeable, and I actually thought she would have been a pretty decent character if we got to see more of her. But the rest of them, I didn't care. I wasn't really bothered if any of them died or got COVID or whatever. This is apparently COVID-23, so it's obviously kind of slightly different, but the threat's the same. Unfortunately, where it lets itself down is that there's just not much action because there are too many people in this to focus on anybody and feel sympathetic towards them, but there are not enough people to make it action-packed with a good pacing. We're just watching these people and not much happens. There really isn't very much that goes on. There are very few threats. I didn't really get the sense of foreboding like there was a virus looming on my doorstep. There's just not much to it, and it does feel like it was rushed out at the last minute with a script penned just to make something that is even slightly coherent to capitalise off of the back of the coronavirus, which is what they've done, and I don't see a problem with that as such, because, people have to make money any way they can at the moment because things are just absolutely awful, and I don't know how long it took them to make this. I don't know when they started pre-production. But put it this way. A film like Host, which just utilises lockdown without ever really referencing the virus, is a significantly better way of creating a film during this pandemic than this. I have no issue with them using the virus as a plot device. But to be honest, apart from the final sentence uttered in this film, I didn't really get much out of it. I don't think it's eye-opening too much. It does make us think, well, we could still be here in 2024 if we don't, start being a bit more sensible. But other than that, it's slow-paced, not much happens. Most of the characters I don't care about. There's no action, there's not a sense of threat. It's not a great film. The title is really boring. I don't like the title Songbird, and there are other films called Songbird, so, get some innovation and give it a better title. It's not the worst film in the world. I can see why some people haven't liked it, but I think they're disliking it for the wrong reason. It's not great. Would I recommend it? Yes. I'd say definitely give it a go, because now is the time to watch it. Once all of this is over, this film is going to be irrelevant rubbish. But at the moment, it might hold some weight. Give it a go. Let me know what you think. Just maybe don't hold your breath.